If there's one thing that I like, it's a burner on my bike. A burner with a bird up on my bike. Now the M1 ain't much fun till you try and do a ton. A burner on my bike, that's what I like. Just for kicks, I ride all through the night. My bird hangs on in fright when I do the ton for kicks.
Tell us a bit about yourself, about how you ended up doing the cafes and...
Well, pretty easy really. My old man was a rocker back in the day. He used to ride motorbikes. That's how he met my mum. He used to race motorcycles from East London to North London, and my mum's from North London. So we'd go to where she was and he'd race around there. As a kid, my dad is only 19 years older than me, so my dad was pretty young. He used to take me to school on the back of his old match bits. I'd be hanging on like for dear life. So as a kid, I was used to, I think I was born like this, on a motorcycle. So my mum wanted me to be a jockey because I was short, wanted me to race horses. But I don't like horses, they scare like crap. But I was then, when I left school I was only 5'5", and I was really light. But I didn't like horses. I played with motorbikes, and my dad said, until this day he still does, there's never any money in motorcycles. Don't do motorcycles, waste of time. So all that did was drive me harder to do motorcycles.
Back then, there was no money for motorcycle riders now.
So he said, but I became a professional motorcycle dispatch rider, and I earned 3 times he did in a year, and he was an engineer. Such a grist every day, I used to go and visit, I used to deliver to Princess Margaret, which was the Queen's sister. I used to go to 10 Downing Street. Sometimes, when it's raining, like it does in Hungary every day, they used to call me up, it's too windy and wet, we need to take your heart, beaten heart, to the next hospital, give it to a donor. The helicopter can't land, pick it up, or it's landing. So they give me a green flashing light, that means I'm a doctor, and I put it on my motorcycle, on my top box, and then the police would come and try and give me an escort to the hospital, and I'd get flying past saying, red light, they'd see the green light, and usually 9 times out of 10, I get you coming out of the hospital like that, I finish, and then the cops will be pulling up, and just do this. And then they grab the light off me like, you can go back at 30 miles an hour. It's called Copper Café because of the colour, it's copper. When I was a kid, I read Hot Rod magazine, and back in the day, Sam and George Barris built a truck called the Copper Cart, and it was copper coloured. So I swore one day I would build one to kind of represent a hot rod colour. So I built this. Now the reason I built this was I had a bunch of parts literally under the table in my garage. I had parts everywhere. And I thought, you know what, I bet I could build one motorcycle out of all these parts. I've got this old supercharger. I can fit that to this bike, and every other like 70s hop-up part available back then I can put on this bike. If you look at the gas tank, it looks standard, but it really isn't. I actually used 3 gas tanks and cut them up to extend this 5 inches. There's so much power in this. There's 220 horses almost in that, like a rocket, so you just go off, that's it. It's a stock displacement, so that's why I chose a supercharger with the stock displacement, because I didn't want to blow the cylinder head off.
Quarter mile?
Quarter mile, I would say 9 seconds all day long if I had, something. I wore diapers or nappy or something, because I'd crap myself in that thing. It pulls like an SOB, man. That thing pulls so hard it'll pull your arms out.
When did you do your first ton?
My first ton was, I'll tell you exactly when it was, my first ton was in 1978. I left school in 78, I was 16, and it was a Japanese bike of all things, and I took an RD 200 out with my brother on the back, and it had Denko racing exhaust on it, and we were like, it was shaking its ass off, and I'm tapping my brother, and he's looking over the front and going, look, we're doing 100, we're doing 100, yeah! It's such a big deal to do 100. So that was 1978, so a long time ago.
Take away all the money, take away all the cars, take away all the motorcycles,
yeah,
and you get like $2,000.
Yeah.
What would you drive?
With $2,000 in America?
Yeah.
Yep. With $2,000, the choice, what would I drive? That's a pretty tough question.
Because
I'm not into new stuff anyway, so that wouldn't matter. So for $2,000, I would buy a bitchin' pickup, and I could drop the front end just by flipping the leaf springs on the front and the back, and probably the drag link. And I've got a bitchin' truck, a 58 F-150. Okay, yeah, I have a 59 here. If you can see that.
Yep.
Okay, 59 represents 1959. In 1959, Bill Shergold, who was a priest, noticed there's a lot of kids on the road getting into trouble, you know, and he opened a club in 1959 called the 59 Club, which is really an all-boys club and taught people how to make their bikes faster but safer. From them 10 people, it's now over 500,000 people in that all around the world. So the 59 Club really is, for me, the original motorcycle group in Great Britain. Not like a motorcycle club, because I always think of Hell's Angels here, but in England it was a group and it helped people out and promoted road safety, but everybody become like a family. But that's where the rockers came from, with the leather jackets and the helmet, kind of the Elvis hair, because that was 59, you know. This little thing here on the right hand side, well, for people watching, and they might not know, there's a little bit of history here, but after obviously World War II, there was a lot of surplus material to requirements back in the day. A lot of American service people actually went into the services with no skills at all. So the benefits for them was they actually come out with a good education and a skill. But after World War II, you know, there was a lot of this stuff around. There wasn't many cars available because the war front, everybody used steel for making planes and tanks and battlements. So like the youngsters, the late teens, 19, 20, 21, say, what are we going to do? We want to play around. And they get an old Model A car, but what can we use, like, you know? So they went, you know what? We got some of these belly tanks, and a belly tank is basically a massive gas tank that was put underneath the fighter planes to give them more range when they used to go out. So they get a belly tank, take the gas out of it, and these you could take in half anyway, and then put a frame and an engine inside it. And this will be from 1945 to 1948, was the predecessor of what's known as a hot rod. So before hot rods come out, this was the granddaddy of hot rods. And what you see is what you get. It's like a giant go-kart. But that is a genuine 1945 drop belly tank from a P-38 Lightning aircraft. And what I'm going to do is keep it all original up to 1949, and I'm going to take it on the dry lake and I'm going to scare myself with it. But it's going to be fun.
What's the output?
The output's not much on this, you know, it's a V8 60, so it's only a 60 horse, but I'll get over 100 miles an hour on it pretty easily, to be honest. And I guess El Mirage, you got a good 3 or 4 miles to run up at that. So I don't know whether I'm going to have 1 direct drive gear or 3 gears. I'm not sure. And get a push truck, which would be my Model A, and push us off, and then off we go.
Is there, in your head, is there an ultimate build that one day I'm going to build that and that's going to be my masterpiece? You
know, as a kid that I had many ideas. I never, you know, suspected I'd ever have a belly tank, and then I built a 32. Well, that was my dream car. Now I've got another 32 here I'm building that's like, what? Are you kidding me? But it's not always about money and what you want, but unfortunately for me, I'm British, and it's not to do with, you know, the Rolls Royce. If I had money, right, this is what would you do if you had money. I've always, as a kid, I don't care what year it is, I've always wanted an Aston Martin. If I had an Aston Martin, especially a DB, James Bond and all that, to me that was like iconic English car. That's like, man, you're a classy guy if you got one of them. Don't matter who you are, people will look at the car. But if I wanted to build something, I don't know what I'd build, because I'm really into the hot rod, and to me a hot rod is a hot rod to me is somebody like me who's working class back then could never afford to have something like a Ferrari, but you could build something in your eyes that is your Ferrari and have a lot of fun and make it affordable. Ferrari you can't afford to run around, the costs are expensive. So it's kind of where you draw the line, you know. I wouldn't want to put too much money into a car where I'm too afraid to drive it because it's too expensive. So I'd rather build 10 shit cars and have fun in all of them.
I think we all can understand that.
How's your TV show coming along?
Good, good. 26 episodes, so the camera doesn't scare me at all. I'm used to that stuff. But it's going to be good. As I say, Lifestyle Magazine. Watch for it in Hungary, because it's going to go all around Europe. Cool. So you've got to watch it, because more people watch, the more money I have in my back pocket.